My double strand stretch bracelet episode is one of my best performing videos. Many of you loved it, but what if I told you that the bracelet I once thought was perfect actually wasn't? Today we're revisiting this beloved project to see if we can improve on perfection, and trust me, we can. Hello, welcome to The Stylish Maker. My name's Carol. For those of you who have been with me here for a while, you might remember the DIY double strand stretch bracelet. It's been one of my most popular videos over the years, and at the time I genuinely thought it was the best way to create this style of bracelet. But as any maker knows, we are constantly learning and refining our techniques. Since filming that original tutorial, I've not only perfected my ultimate knot for stretch bracelets, ensuring they are even more secure against those dreaded bead explosions, but I've come to realize that a true double strand bracelet benefits from the two strands being intentionally connected. Plus, let's be honest, the elastic in that old bracelet definitely stretched out over time. Now I have a crucial step to prevent that from happening. So the question I've been asking myself is this: can we take a project that many considered fantastic, a project that I even thought was perfect, and make it better? In this episode, we're going to find out. I'll walk you through the process of creating a double strand stretch bracelet, incorporating my improved techniques, ensuring a more integrated double strand design, and of course, properly preparing the elastic for a bracelet that lasts. So let's see if we can indeed improve on perfection. So here's my bracelet, and as you can see, over time, the elastic stretched quite a lot. It's also actually broken, and luckily it hasn't fallen apart and I haven't lost my beads. I'm going to take this apart and I'm going to remake it, and I'm going to use exactly the same beads, but I am going to give you some options as well. So the first thing we're going to do is take our scissors and chop it. I'm just taking off all my beads and hoping they won't run away. Look at that, it's all shredded and looking nasty. I'm going to show you today using this hot pink elastic, just so that you can see what I'm up to. It's quite hard to see when I use the clear nylon, but if you were making this bracelet, you would use something like this. This is a 0.6 millimeter. It's called Strong and Stretchy, and this is the one I use all the time. It is my favorite elastic to use. The first thing we're going to do is get our elastic ready. We need a considerable amount of elastic, probably not that much, but we're going to use it anyway. So we're going to make two strands and we're going to connect them. Rather than the original where I made one big strand and we just doubled it up, we're not going to do that this time. We're actually going to do it the proper way. So I'm actually going to cut this in half, because that is way long enough to go around my wrist twice, which is what I need for per strand. Now this elastic, it does tend to shred a little bit. As I said, it's not my first choice. Before I do that though, I'm going to organize my beads, because they're going to roll all over the place and get in the way. These beads are a rose quartz. They are a 6 millimeter and they are absolutely gorgeous. The key to making a stretch bracelet last is to give your elastic a really good stretch before you use it. What this does is it stops it stretching out while you're wearing it. So I wouldn't have got those gaps between my beads if I'd done this in the original one. Note that I'm giving it a really hard stretch, and I've got my elastic doubled up here. Now that I've done that, I'm going to use a bead stopper and pop it on the cut end of the elastic. So I'm putting it on, there's two strands at this end. That leaves me a loop at this end. Next, I'm going to take my big eye needle, and this is what a big eye needle looks like. It's got a hole that runs almost the entire length of the needle, and that means that you can thread it nice and easily. So I'm going to take the loop of my elastic and I'm going to put it through the big eye needle. Now note that I did not put the needle inside the loop, okay? The loop goes through the needle, because if you put the elastic inside the loop, you won't be able to get it out. I'm going to start by stringing 18 of my beads onto my elastic. And the beautiful thing about this big eye needle is it just allows you to go through your beads nice and easily. So the beads have holes that are big enough for all 4 strands of my elastic to go through. So I'm going to put 18 on and I'll meet you back here. Now the original bracelet, it was just one big long bracelet and you just wore it doubled. This time we're going to make it correctly. We are going to use a bead to hold everything together. So we're actually making two strands, two individual strands, and then we're going to connect them with a bead. But first I need to add a little bit more to this strand. These are little silver heart beads, and I'm going to pop that one on. And then I'm going to put on another bead, and then I'm going to put on a bead cap facing the bead I just put on, like this. And then I'm going to put a bead cap on facing the other way. And one more of my beads. So there it is so far. And at this point, I'm going to take off my needle and I'm going to test that it actually fits me, which it will be about the right size because we have one more bead to go on there. So I'm just going to pop the ends of this into my bead stopper, and then we're going to make the second strand. By the way, if you're interested in making any of the jewelry I'm wearing today, I can leave you a link for the tutorial for my necklace and earrings. My two bracelets that I'm wearing here, I did in a live stream actually just this morning with my members. If you are interested in my membership and supporting me to bring you more free content on YouTube, and also watching my videos ad-free, then I'll leave you a link for my membership as well, where there's lots and lots of other benefits other than just those things. So you might want to check that out as well. So now I'm going to pre-stretch my other piece of elastic. So I've left 7 beads here so that my center piece will be in fact in the center of my bracelet. So I'm going to thread on my needle again and thread up the center focal of my bracelet. So I'm taking my little heart bead, and then I'm going to put on a rose quartz bead and then a bead cap facing that bead, and then another bead cap facing the other way, and then another rose quartz bead, and then my little heart. Now I do want my heart going to go the right way, so I want it going that way. So that's what I have now. And then I'm just going to feed on the rest of my beads.
Is this real? Could this be a new beginning?
So when you have a double strand stretch bracelet, you need some way of connecting the two strands. You could use a 2-hole bead, and I've got a few here to choose from. This is gorgeous. It is a bow, and it actually goes on the wire this way. Or on the elastic this way. So the elastic goes through here and out here. So that would add quite a lot of space to my original bracelet length. And so I'd have to take some beads off if I was going to use this one. This one is a square 2-hole bead, and it has the holes there and there coming out the other end. So maybe I could get away with taking one bead off if I chose to use that one. This one is a smaller 2-hole bead. Now the holes in this one are tucked into the corner here. So that one's quite interesting and a lot smaller than the others. Here's another one that is similar. Isn't that one pretty? And also the holes are here and here, so it goes through, the elastic would go through the back and out the other side. It's probably about the size of one of my hearts, so I could take off one of my hearts and use this instead. So that's an option. All right, and the last one I have is a rhinestone spacer bead, and that one, the beads kind of tuck into this because the holes are there. So when you put a bead in here, you can see it kind of tucks in. So those are some options for making a double strand stretch bracelet, for connecting everything together. But we're not going to use any of those today. What I am going to use is my barrel bead. Now it's still got its little charm attached from the original bracelet, and I'm not going to mess with that at all. All I'm going to do is use this to hide the knot. Remember, if you haven't already, to hit that subscribe button and give me the thumbs up. And if you are already subscribed but you're not seeing my videos, then why don't you subscribe to my newsletter? I'll leave you that linked below so that you can subscribe and you'll get an email every time I upload a new video for you. Now we're going to connect the two strands, and we're going to use our special ultimate knot to do that. I've still got my needle on this one, so I'm going to thread on my barrel bead, and I'm going to take my needle off and pop it over there. Now what I'm going to do is take my loop here and hold it open with my fingers, and my two cut ends are in my right hand. And then I'm going to take my cut ends and put them through the loop. And then I'm just going to pull everything up, pull the two cut ends and pull and pull and pull until that loop just about disappears. So we're hiding the knot inside the barrel bead. Now we're going to use the ultimate knot. So we're going to split the ends. So we've got one on one side and one on the other. And I'm going to take my right hand one and I'm going to feed it through the center of the bracelet and bring it out on the left. Now you want to make sure that the elastic tucks itself back into that same groove. Then I'm going to take my left hand one and do the same thing, left to right. And then I'm going to tie a knot. Now I'm going to take my right hand one, I'm going to feed it through the center of the bracelet and out the other side. Then I'm going to take the left hand one and thread it through the center of the bracelet and just making sure it stays in that same place and out the other side. And I'm going to tie another knot. Then I'm going to repeat that one more time. Right hand through, coming out the left, and left through, coming out the right, and tie a knot. This time we're going to tie 2 knots. There's my knot, and you can see that this is the loop end and this is the cut end that I have in my hand here. So the elastic came up and through the loop, and then we did a tie, 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 tie. And the reason I like this knot is because it kind of lies down along the elastic, and it means that it's much more sturdy. It also hides better. Now I'm just going to take my scissors and snip the ends off. And if I wanted to, this would be a really nice bracelet just on its own with the knot all hidden inside there. But we're not doing that today. We're going to add this one as well. So I'm going to thread my cut ends onto my needle and thread them through the barrel bead, just like that. So now I've got both strands of my elastic going through the barrel bead. And I'm going to take my bead stopper off. And basically I'm going to repeat. I'm going to take my cut ends through the loop, and then I'm going to pull everything up. And then I'm going to tie my knot. So split my ends. So it's this one I want to tie. And I'm going through from the right to the left with my thread, and from the left to the right, and tie a knot. And then I'm going to, holding the other one out of the way, I'm going to take my right hand one, put it through and pull it out, and my left hand one and pull it through and pull it out. And then I'm going to tie a knot. Then we're just going to repeat that one more time. So taking my right through and my left through, and this time I'm tying 2 knots. Now, if you didn't catch that, I have done an episode all about this knot, so I'll leave that one linked below and you can watch that one. It's in much more detail. I show it to you with some big chunky cords so you can see exactly what I'm doing. All right, so now my knot is tied, and there it is there. It's going to hide inside my barrel bead, so I just cut off my ends and I'm going to tuck it in there. Just adjust it so that it will go inside there. So there it is, its little dangle, which is facing up at the moment, but that dangle could actually go either way. It would turn itself around if we wanted it to, and that's what it looks like on the back. So as you can see, I could have moved those up a couple of beads, but I might just do that because I have to remake it with clear elastic instead of pink anyway, so I may just do that, but we'll see. What do you think? Did I make it more perfect than it was before? I don't think it was actually perfect before. I think, you know, nothing's perfect ever. And I think that that's a standard that we should not try and achieve because that causes all sorts of other issues. I hope you enjoyed this quick tutorial with my little bracelet, and I think it's more perfect than it was before because it works better. And also, I think there's much less chance of it coming apart in the future. Thank you so much for watching today. Have a wonderful day, and I will see you again soon.